hemostasis session 1, and particularly the role of platelets in the structure of platelets along with its role in the platelet plug formation. Starting from what is hemostasis, simply this is the homeostasis of the blood. As we all know, the blood is present inside the blood vessels. So the homeostasis of the blood means to keep the blood inside the blood vessels and stop it from oozing outside in case of an injury of the vessel wall. Number 2, to keep it flowing inside the blood vessel rather than letting it get stagnant or clotted. So if we have a look at this definition, this is the process of forming clots in the walls of the damaged vessels to prevent the blood loss. Number 2, to maintain it in the fluid state within the vascular system. To achieve this homeostasis, this is brought upon by 4 steps: vascular constriction, number 1, formation of platelet, number 2, blood clot formation, number 3, and fibrous tissue growth, number 4. All these steps are carried out sequentially and take variable amount of time to complete the hemostasis in the body. We will begin our discussion with the step number 1, which is the vascular constriction. Upon injury to the blood vessel, as soon as there is a breach in the vessel wall integrity, the vessel's wall will constrict and decrease their diameter by either the local myogenic spasm, which is the local smooth muscle cell response, or in response to a neighboring authocoid factor which is released upon injury, for example, thromboxane, endothelial factors, serotonin, and many more, or might be because of the nervous reflexes, for example, sympathetic discharge in response to trauma and stress. All these in combination or one of these can lead to vascular constriction depending upon the intensity of injury that occurred. This vascular constriction will try to occlude the breach in the vessel wall and stop the loss of blood outside. On the other hand, the second step, which is the formation of platelet plug, will be initiated upon injury. To understand that, first we will have a look at the structure of the platelets. As you can see over here in this image, platelets are produced from the megakaryocytes in the bone marrow. These are not the complete cells, rather the fragments of the megakaryocytes. Megakaryocytes are only found in the bone marrow, whereas platelets are released in the peripheral blood. If you have a look at the structure of the platelets, you can see they have canalicular system, mitochondria, like Golgi apparatus, endoplasmic reticulum, lysosomes inside, plus they have stored granules, alpha in the dense granules. They also have glycogen storage inside, and of course no nucleus, as these are not the complete cells rather than the cellular chunks. The normal concentration is 1.5 to 4.5 millions per cubic milliliter. Half-life of platelets is only 8 to 10 days in comparison to the 120 days of the half-life of RBCs. They also have actin, myosin, and thrombostatin inside. As you can see, the microtubular structure inside. This provides the structural integrity, as well as these are contractile proteins which have a role to play at the time of clot retraction. Endoplasmic reticulum and Golgi also have calcium storage, providing the muscle contraction, the protein constriction, as well as enzymatic activation. Mitochondria for the provision of ATP, stores of prostaglandins, fibrin stabilizing factors, and many other proteins inside, stored inside the alpha and the dense granules. These alpha and dense granules respectively stored proteinaceous and non-protein substances. To name a few, dense granules have the storage of serotonin and adenine related substances, for example, ADP, the most important. Alpha granules have proteinaceous substances, for example, the fibrin stabilizing factor, clotting factors, platelet derived growth factor, and the von Willebrand factor. To name a few functions of these factors, platelet-derived growth factor, as is evident by the name, is coming from the platelets and also by some other cells, and it has a role to play in the growth. For example, the growth of the vascular smooth muscles, that is why they can play a role in the wound healing. Whereas the von Willebrand factor, a very important protein in the hemostasis, is coming not only from the platelets but also from the vascular wall, vessel cells, and it plays a role in adhesion of the platelets to the endothelium, as we are going to discuss in the coming up slides on the platelet plug formation. And another important role to play they have is to regulate the amount of factor 8 in the blood. If the von Willebrand factor is deficient in the blood for some reason, the amount of factor 8 will also be reduced. So not only it will present as a defect in the platelet plug formation, but also in the clotting cascade as well. Platelet plug formation is the second step in the hemostasis, whereas the first one was the vascular constriction. This platelet plug formation is brought upon in a series of steps starting from the injury or exposure. As soon as there is a breach in the vessel wall integrity, the collagen is exposed, which was otherwise not exposed to the circulating blood. As soon as this collagen is exposed, this provides a site of attachment to the von Willebrand factor, and this von Willebrand factor was coming from the platelets as well as the endothelial cells. As you can appreciate over here, the von Willebrand factor is attached here to the exposed collagen. As well as on the opposite side, it is attached to the receptor protein on the platelet, and the name of this receptor protein is GP1B, the glycoprotein 1B. And this step is known as adhesion. The van Willebrand protein on one side is bound to the endothelium, and on the other side it is bound to the platelet protein, a step called platelet adhesion. As soon as the platelet is adhered to the endothelium, there is going to be a conformational change, as you can appreciate in the shape of the cell as well. And this is also leading to the release of certain factors, alpha and dense granules, for example, calcium, ADP, thromboxane. These are all pro-aggregating factors. The most important one right now in the next step is ADP. This ADP, when binds to the platelet, it leads to the activation of the platelet. And how does it activate the platelet? It exposes another protein on the surface of the platelet called glycoprotein 2B3A. Now, this activated platelet with this receptor protein is capable of attaching to the neighboring platelets, which is called as aggregation. First, the platelets were bound to the endothelium, adhered to the endothelium. Now, they are getting stuck to each other as well, which was otherwise presented because of exposure of this GP2B3A protein. And this step is known as aggregation. If these platelets are aggregated upon each other at the site of injury, this is what we call as temporary platelet plug. And if the injury was small, this temporary platelet plug can stop the bleeding by itself. Second step of hemostasis. This image is giving further detail of the steps of the platelet plug formation that we just discussed, starting from the injury and exposure to adhesion, activation, aggregation. Especially you can see over here the comparison of pro-aggregation and anti-aggregation factors, which will decide if the platelet plug will be formed or not. For example, thromboxane, decreased blood flow, and platelet aggregation are pro-aggregating, whereas prostacyclin and nitric oxide are the anti-aggregation factors. And this will continue towards the third step of hemostasis called as the coagulation cascade. This platelet plug formation is also known as primary hemostasis and clotting cascade as the secondary hemostasis. You can have a look at this image to understand the importance of this platelet plug formation, which repairs the injury in the vessel wall without us knowing many a times in the day. If this platelet plug formation does not occur, the punctate hemorrhages will appear on the skin and the mucosal membrane called as petechia and the purpura. And this is even the severe form, large bruises, that is known as ecchymosis, which is not showing the platelet plug defect but the clotting factor defect. I have added these three together to help you compare all of these three. Petechia are much small pinpoint hemorrhages less than 2 mm. If little larger, 2 to 10 mm, we call these purpura, and both are showing a defect in the platelet plug formation. They do not branch on providing the pressure to the skin area, and are caused because of the capillary bleeding or purpura because of the vascular fragility as well. Whereas the ecchymosis, this shows the defect in the clotting cascade. Platelets, although play a role in the platelet plug formation, but they have an indirect role to play in the third step of hemostasis as well, which is the blood clot formation that we will be discussing in the next session. Once we have discussed that clotting cascade, you can review this slide back and relate how the platelets play an indirect role in the blood clot formation. That's all about the introduction to the hemostasis and platelet plug formation, and we will continue with the blood clot formation in the next session.